In Stranger Things Season 4, we're introduced to Vecna, a terrifying and powerful villain who, after some time, turns out to be the overarching main villain behind all of the misfortunes that has occurred in the fictional town of Hawkins. And in the Season 4 finale, the threat of Vecna is thought to have been wiped out, but as it turns out, in the final scene of the season, Vecna is still very much alive. But how the hell could this be? Didn't he get absolutely wrecked by the end? Well, yes, he did, and today I'll be telling you what I think happened to Vecna at the very end. But before I proceed, remember to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. Alright, without further ado, let's go. So, Vecna's end in Season 4 is brought on not only by Eleven, but Robin, Steve, and especially by Nancy. While Eleven is in Vecna's mind, she immobilizes him by pinning him to one of those strange constructs in his mind. And while Vecna is preoccupied, Steve and Robin attack him physically by burning him with Molotov cocktails, which breaks his concentration and even damages his connection to the upside-down hive mind. Nancy then proceeds to blast him with her shotgun several times until he gets thrown out of the Creel house attic window and crashes to the ground while burning. Now, from the looks of it, considering that Vecna is still a human, he should by all rights be dead at this point.
A little bit spicy.
But as we find out after the gang has made their way downstairs, he has somehow disappeared without a trace. Later on, Will opens up to Mike during their conversation, and Will reveals that he can still feel Vecna's presence and that despite Vecna being seriously hurt, he's still alive and kicking, as Will can feel him planning his next step. So, what gives? How is this still possible that Vecna's still alive after all the punishment he took during the fiery climax? Well, the first assumption is simply that he was just physically injured and that he ran off somewhere to hide after his fight with the Hawkins gang. But honestly, that just seems a little silly, as it didn't take that long for Nancy, Steve, and Robin to run down to the pavement. And can you imagine seeing Vecna limp away? Nah, I didn't think so either. So, I actually think that there's something else going on here. Now, we know that Vecna is intimately connected to the Upside Down through the Mind Flayer. This is because we found out in this very same episode that the Mind Flayer is essentially what Vecna considers to be his true form, which is a giant spider. He even confirmed to Eleven that he was controlling the very Mind Flayer from the very beginning. And this makes sense, as when we see him molding the Flayer, it's inactive, like that of a robot that's waiting for a command. And when we see the dark clouds over Hawkins in the final shot, it's logical to assume that this shot is meant to make us think of the Mind Flayer, not of Vecna's physical body, as the red lighting inside a giant storm is the Mind Flayer's signature look. But as we know from Vecna, the Mind Flayer and Vecna is almost the same thing. Almost. So, essentially, what I think happened to Vecna after getting burnt to a crisp by the Hawkins gang is that his physical form was simply destroyed, or that the vines in the Upside Down absorbed his body, which could have saved his consciousness. After this, Vecna simply became the hive mind, or well, the Mind Flayer. That is why we see the dark clouds forming over Hawkins. Vecna fully transformed into the very thing he always wanted to be, which means that he wouldn't have a physical body anymore. But that's also where I think Will's role might come in Season 5. As Vecna now is missing a physical body, Will could be the perfect host for him, as Will already has a connection to Vecna and the Upside Down from the very small piece of the Mind Flayer that entered his body in Season 2. Speaking of which, I've made a video about Will possibly being the final hero of Stranger Things, as his connection to Vecna could be the key to defeating him once and for all as well. Click here to check it out. Anyway, do you think Vecna still has a physical body, or was it destroyed? Let me know in the comments below. As always, have a great day. I'm out.